Hey listeners, you know we love Bouley's customized bowls where we get to create our own combo of bold flavors with grains, veggies, and protein.
Like my current favorite of steak au jus with Brussels sprouts on a bed of forbidden black rice.
That sounds great, especially when it's smothered in my favorite creamy garlic sauce.
Que rico. That does sound great. You know what else sounds great?
Their strawberry chia seed pudding, delicious.
That too, but also the fact they now have locations in Aventura and Fort Lauderdale, both offering wraps featuring signature spice blends, sauces, and marinades.
Okay, wait, espérate. So our listeners can enjoy a fresh and customized Bouley bowl or wrap in Broward?
Así mismo. They can experience Bouley at various locations throughout Florida and even Georgia and Virginia.
Meaning we can all be part of Bouley's mission to inspire bold living through the power of fresh food. And who doesn't want to live boldly?
Exactly. So visit Bouley.com today to find your nearest location or place an order for pickup. There's no day like today to enjoy fresh food to fuel your life. The holidays are back. It's like we just finished going trick-or-treat, and now it's time for Sanguibin, el ho-ho-ho. But that also means it's time to find the perfect gift for your dad, husband, brother, carajo, even for yourself. You know where this is going. That's right. Get them the perfect jean. I absolutely swear by these jeans, from bandit black to midnight blue to light blue ice, which is also ripped because, as we know, the only thing better than comfort is edgy comfort. As a Miami boy, I even have their jean shorts. Porque in Miami, we need quality shorts that are stylish and comfortable. Pero ish, you're saying, my boyfriend, abuelo, tío, doesn't need any jeans this holiday season. To that I say, you're wrong, because every man does need the perfect jean. Pero okay, if that is true, we still got you covered. Just in time for winter, the perfect jean now has extremely comfortable hoodies. Made using organic cotton, these hoodies are just as comfortable as the jeans. They're perfect for those chilly winters up north, or if you're visiting DJ's house, because as we know, he keeps the temperature at a reasonable setting of tundra. So it is the holidays, which means we've got a gift for you. Use code PERO20 at theperfectjean.nyc for 20% off your order. Así mismo, PERO20 gets you 20% off the jeans, the hoodies, everything. Jeans and hoodies sounds like two great items to open under the tree to us. So this holiday, your khakis and get the perfect gift from the perfect jean. And don't forget to use code PERO20 for 20% off your order.
Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to episode 230.
Yes, sir.
230.
230. Good Lord, 230.
So this is like
250's on the corner.
Listeners, welcome to episode 230.
Yep.
This is our pre-Thanksgiving week. This is like when it gets good, right?
Yeah.
Like the week before Thanksgiving is when it gets good, when you start getting excited.
Because it's holiday season.
I mean, let's not talk about Thanksgiving because that's going to be... Well, actually, no, wait a minute. Our next episode will be the Friday after Thanksgiving. So
right,
we can't talk about
this
Thanksgiving.
is our Thanksgiving episode. Yes. Yeah. But yeah, like, once we hit the week before Thanksgiving, that's it. It's holiday time.
Yeah.
Like, ya te está picando.
There's no escaping it.
That's it. Like, it's time to deck the halls and trim the trees. And
I'm surprised that, that
the dollar store doesn't already have Valentine's Day.
No, that like Christmas isn't now officially after the 4th of July.
Well, we like to give a little bit of space between when we blow things up and bring a baby into the world.
Well, I guess. So you're excited about Thanksgiving this
I'm
year?
always excited about Thanksgiving because me and food.
Yes. I'm excited too because I get to cook again.
So you're gonna do the whole meal? Or?
Mijito, that I inherited. So my grandmother always did the turkey.
Okay.
I think it was only her last. You know what's so everybody has stories like this.
Of course.
My grandmother passed away in 2021, and then I started to think, like, I started to think about the last time we had Thanksgiving together, and I thought it was 2019, because 2020 we didn't have Thanksgiving because of COVID.
That's right.
And
that's why you did it here.
Yeah,
not at your parents' house.
Much smaller affair. Because especially especially during the first year of COVID, I'm again like everybody else.
Right.
My grandmother, 93, 94
exactly,
at the time.
Yeah.
So you were very, very careful about it.
Anybody over 80, you were like,
and we were very strict that nobody got around her. Thankfully, she never got COVID. But I think about, like, in that case, like so many people of like times that COVID robbed us, because if we would have had the regular Thanksgiving, then I would have had an extra Thanksgiving with her. So I just sucked all the fun out of this room.
Wow. Well, I don't know how to come out of that. funk.
So I do the turkey now, and I have to tell you, my turkey is amazing.
I don't know, for some reason I was like, do you sous vide it? But I can't imagine the
God.
palangana that would require.
It would have to be like a freaking pool, like a kid's pool. Like, no.
I will say the year that you did the sous vide chicken for Christmas dinner, that was delicious.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, it was turkey.
Oh, it was turkey? Oh, okay.
Yes. I did, listeners, a few years ago for our friend Christmas dinner.
Friendmas? I don't know.
When I host it, like, I go all out. Like, it's like you're going to go have a fine dining
Lo único que
experience.
falta es for him to actually go out and slaughter the animal he serves.
I bought chicken. When I mean chicken breast, I'm sorry, turkey breast. I mean, you could buy the turkey, like, you know how you buy for Thanksgiving, but without like the legs, obviously. So it's just the breast. I took the breast off the bone. I cut it out. I flattened it, and I stuffed it. I rolled it, and then I pan-seared it in duck fat. And then I finished cooking it in the oven, and then with the pan of where I seared it, I did like a rosemary gravy, and then it was amazing. Do you remember how good that was?
Well, I just told you I remembered how good it was.
Yes.
And listeners, I'm sure you're salivating too.
Duck fat is a magical thing.
It really is.
I mean, you could put cardboard.
Maybe it cures COVID.
You could put cardboard on duck fat and then truffle that shit, and
as long as you fry it, you're fine.
Yeah. So I cooked the turkey. So I wanna lay everybody in on my little secret turkey.
Oh,
hack.
Which I think you've given in past episodes. So this is your yearly reminder.
So if everybody, what does everybody always say about Thanksgiving turkey?
Okay, it's too dry.
Oh, it's too dry, la pechuga and all that. Right, because you're cooking the bird for like 3 to 4 hours with that,
Put me in an oven that long. I'll dry out too.
Heat source on the bird, and that dries up what is already dry, which is breast meat.
Right.
So what you do is you put the bird upside down. Trust me on this, people. You butter that bird. And when I mean butterball, like I'm not kidding, like 2 or 3 sticks of butter, room temperature. I put it all over the bird, and then I cook it upside down for about 3 hours.
Okay.
Right? Then, and what I do is, I'm going to give you guys all my hacks, all right? So, this is what you do. You buy, I
feel like we should record this part, like, now and just play it every year as a bonus episode.
As a bonus episode, right? Okay, so this is what you do, guys. So, you go to the supermarket and buy yourself, like, a ciabatta bread, like a long ciabatta bread, right? Not the rectangular ones, the long ones that are like a whole loaf. You cut it in half, okay? You put the 2 halves in your where you put the turkey.
So like in the pan.
In the pan, in the big
as a
turkey
base.
pan, right? As a base, you put them in the bottom,
okay,
and you butter them, right? You butter them. Then you get your turkey and you butter the turkey. You butter it on the outside, the skin, inside. Le pones mantequilla en todo lugar.
When you think you've done enough buttering, keep
put
going.
more butter,
okay,
right?
Okay.
So now you're putting the buttered turkey on the buttered open loaf ciabatta bread.
Okay.
Breast down, upside down.
Okay.
So then you stuff the turkey with whatever.
So con la pata para arriba.
Yes, breast down.
Okay.
Right? So you stuff the turkey with whatever you like. What I do is that I get like rosemary, sage, thyme.
You have a Simon and Garfunkel song in there?
and I'm glad to say I get it from my own garden because
That's right. You do have an herb garden.
And I put that in the bird. I cut up a couple of lemons. I put it in the turkey as well. So you cook it, and then obviously the cooking time depends on
the size of the bird.
So then about 2/3 of the way in, I flip the bird.
To everyone who's watching.
You flip the bird, right? Oh, and you cover it. When you have it breast down, you cover it. Then you flip the bird, and you know what you do when you flip the bird?
You piss people off in traffic.
You butter it some more.
Okay.
You take it out, and you let it cool down a little bit, and you butter it some more.
So this is a low-calorie, low-cholesterol.
Yes. And you keep basting it. Then the juices, you keep basting it.
Okay.
And then you finish it off, right? You take off the aluminio.
Uh-huh. I love that. Aluminio.
You make sure that the top is nice and like with a lot of butter, and then you finish it off, and that's what makes it golden. So then you take out the bird.
Okay.
That ciabatta bread, did we forget about the ciabatta bread?
We did not forget about the
ciabatta bread has now been absorbing
Oh.
that turkey fat for 3 to 4 hours.
So it's juicy.
And it has butter. And it's magic. That ciabatta bread, and then because it's at the bottom of the pan, it's toasted.
Oh, true. That's right. It's got a little crust.
Like, people fight for it. And they're like, oh, why didn't you make more? And I'm like, well, because
There's only so much in the pan, yeah.
Yes, there's only so much turkey, right? It is freaking amazing. And then from there, you make your gravy and all that. So, everybody, you could thank me later.
There you go. And for those of you who want to thank him in person, we will be this Saturday at King Fox Brewery in Hialeah with Bim Pam Pollo, where he is going to be serving his creations of chicken wing recipes and sandwiches. We got the guayaba queso, the santero, the Korean barbecue, and of course our naked wings. We're also going to be at J. Wakefield the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So if you're hasta aquí con el pavo, but you still want some type of bird,
more poultry.
But different poultry, you know, it's and we're gonna be at J. Wakefield from starting at 1 p.m. So it's also Small Business Saturday.
Yes.
So go out. If you have out-of-towners, you can take them to Wynwood during the day, walk around, support small businesses like J. Wakefield, like us. If you're also feeling like supporting small businesses a little bit more, we also have a TeePublic store where we've got a lot of shirts. We've got our Lechon Life, which is a great Christmas gift, but we also have Cuban Clean shirt, which has a palo trapear, a bucket, and a thing of fabuloso. And we also have the What's Cookin' shirt, which is a big picture of the Hitachi rice cooker. So, what better ways to celebrate the holidays?
That may have been your best transition plug ever. Where do we go from there?
Well, you know what? From there, we can talk about whatever's been happening this week.
So before we do that, so then obviously since we're talking about Thanksgiving, the biggest debacle always coming from a Latin household on Thanksgiving.
Lechon or turkey.
Lechon or turkey. And then, I'm sure listeners, you have the same debacle. Yeah. I mean, when I started hearing people, no, porque si me pavo en fricassé, I'm like, okay, it's one day a year, people. One day. And then, of course, in my family, my father and my uncles are always like, no, vamos a hacer una piernecita. And I'm like, one day.
See, our compromise is no lechon on Thanksgiving, but we do have ham.
Oh, we have ham too.
We'll do a ham and we'll do turkey.
Right.
But we don't do lechon.
Too.
We'll do, frijoles and all that, but no ham, no lechon.
No lechon.
No lechon.
No lechon life on Thanksgiving.
No lechon life on Thanksgiving, guys.
It's always the same thing. And then, my dad and my uncle, the years that we haven't had una pierna, they start complaining. No, porque el pavo, que no le gusta el pavo. I'm like, oh my God.
You're going to eat it.
Just shut up.
You're going to eat it anyway. Yeah.
Have it. You're having, and they still have to make el arroz con frijoles y la yuca. La yuca no puede faltar.
Oh, and I love yuca, so I'm not going to complain.
No.
I love yuca. I love every starch ever made.
I don't like yucca.
You don't like yucca?
I love how, in English, the white people are they either call it yucca or cassava.
The cassava, yeah.
I don't even know what cassava is.
Cassava is yucca.
And yuca's yucca?
Yes. Well, no, because I've seen cassava chips. Because cassava chips are yucca chips.
Okay, so why do some say yucca and some say yucca? I mean, I'm sorry, cassava.
I don't know. Why do some people say Roosevelt and some people say Roosevelt? I don't know.
British people don't say specialty, they say speciality.
Exactly.
Right. But they're British.
And they put that extra U in color.
What do you mean?
COLOUR.
Oh, color.
Right, but they don't pronounce it color.
Color. But it depends because look, one of my favorite different ways of spelling things, I love Shoppy.
Oh, Shoppy.
Shoppy. If you go to a Shoppy rather than a shop, you know it's going to be better.
It is. I've always had better experiences at donut shoppies than donut shops.
Of course. It's a Shoppy.
I think the glaze is different.
I think it's something, it's sort of like a placebo effect.
It is. That extra P and that E just elevates it. Yeah. I don't know how. I don't know why.
It's like artisanal.
It becomes artisanal.
Yeah, artisanal.
It could be totally not artisanal, but now all of a sudden it is.
Right, because the whole thing of artisanal is like made in small batches and by hand. And like when you go to like the supermarket, they have like Tostitos tortilla chips that are artisanal. I'm like, really?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Really? Yeah. The machine, like, that made them.
It's an artistic machine. It's the Basquiat of machines.
Okay, so bueno, let's move on from Turkey Day, from El Pavo. Oh, and by the way,
I don't know. You were going to point to something.
Do you watch the Macy's Parade?
I always watch the Macy's Parade.
I watch the Macy's Parade, too.
Yes.
They have new floats this year.
They do, yes.
Yeah. So, listeners, did any of you get
He leaned in.
Did any of you get Taylor Swift tickets this week?
I don't think anybody got Taylor Swift tickets. That's going to be the most empty fucking concert from what I'm getting.
Okay, so let's recap what happened this week in Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So Taylor Swift is going on the Eras tour, and she has currently 52 dates in the United States, at least in the American leg of the tour. And this week, they had the pre-sale for Ticketmaster.
Oh, this has just been the pre-sale?
This has just been the pre-sale. And fans tried to buy tickets, and they logged in. Some of them had queues that there were thousands of people in front of them. Mm-hmm. And the general sale was supposed to be tomorrow. The general sale has been canceled.
Because they have no tickets left?
They not only do they not have tickets left, but because of demand, their system can't handle it.
But how? I mean, because pre-sales don't usually sell everything.
So this is
pre-sales only have X amount of tickets.
Right, but they didn't.
Oh, so they fucked up.
Yeah. So, for example, if you go to third-party resellers now, their ticket's going for $95,000.
If you pay $95,000, I should get the honor of beating you with a baseball bat.
We don't promote violence on Pero, let me tell you.
No. Pero come mierdería deserves un bate a la cabeza.
Yeah, I wouldn't even pay $95,000. Well, I would pay $95,000 for Mariah Carey to sing to me.
You know what? No. I think you'd pay $25,000.
Look, if I
think 95 is a little much.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anyway, the point is, so, I mean, people were like on the brink of losing their mind this week.
Lord.
So, you know, every time something like this.
If you're one of those people, though, please feel free to go to betterhelp.com and use code PERO.
Oh, yeah. Your marketing game, it's like almost you do this for a living, right?
Almost.
So the whole thing, obviously, that happened this week with the Taylor Swift tickets has everybody talking now about Ticketmaster.
Oh, we're back to this conversation?
Right. Now, I just want to say and go on the record that the OGs of hating Ticketmaster was Pearl Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Hence why I ended up in a riot many years ago. Unexpected riot was because of Ticketmaster, which Seth immediately reminded me. But there have been a lot of artists historically that have been up against Ticketmaster. That's something you and I have always complained about.
Absolutely.
Is Ticketmaster's inconvenient convenience fee.
It's a monopoly.
So
they own Live Nation, though, right?
Yes. Well, no, Live Nation owns them. There was a merger in 2010. But even before that, you would buy your tickets through Live Nation.
Yeah, there was nobody else.
Right. I mean, if you're from Miami, do you remember, listeners, back in the day when you had to go to Ricky's Records?
Yes, I do.
Stand in line for tickets?
Yeah. I used to sell, when I was working at Specs, right. I would sell tickets to people.
And that wasn't even that long ago. That was like in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it wasn't in the 1900s, as I
remember
going
to the tracks in Town and Country Mall to buy my tickets for Mariah Carey's Music Box Tour.
Wow.
And you would get to pick your seat, on
the little book.
That they had, the book that they had. Yeah.
Well, we bought the Spice Girls tickets at the Specs off of US 1. Remember that you were working that day, and it was me, Daisy, and Ozzy may have come with us. And we waited in line because you were working like right across the street.
Yeah, I was like, I don't remember that line.
I think you like joined us from your job or whatever. But like I remember making that line and having to go to the computer and we didn't pick seats because we got general admission by that point. But but still.
So what do we think about like this whole Ticketmaster thing in Taylor Swift fans?
I mean, it's nothing new. So to quote Justin Timberlake, "Cry Me a River."
Right, but here's
I'm saying it's nothing new. So I'm not. What I mean is I'm not surprised.
Okay,
because
so here's my problem with it, and honestly, I'm sort of happy that.
But I'm happy it happened to Taylor Swift.
Well, I'm happy that it happened to such a high profile like
Correct.
Taylor Swift with fans that are very unionized.
They are. They should form a union
because
this might change something.
Here's my biggest. I have a problem with pre-sales. I have a problem with pre-sales because I have a problem with pre-sales because a lot of pre-sales have you either have to have the American Express Platinum card or the Citibank Visa Platinum card.
Okay, but I mean,
or you have to have. No, I'm going to tell you why I have a problem with it because a lot of, and this is not only to the Taylor Swift.
You're talking in general.
In general. A lot of these pre-sales are based on credit cards or clubs that you're part of.
Okay.
So who are the people that have these high-end credit cards? Generally are people with, but it's generally people that are more affluent, that have a better credit score, and have just more feasibility. And you know what? I think that you need a good credit score to get a mortgage. I don't think you need a good credit score to, buy a concert ticket. And I don't think that this should always be given to people that just are more affluent and have better credit scores to buy a freaking concert ticket.
Yeah, but it comes down to the whole thing of if you're a lot of times you're paying a membership fee for these higher end whatevers. So it's just one of the benefits you get.
Right, but it doesn't make it right. Like, I think because you're dealing with something that is also affecting the access to the general public.
Okay, fair enough. But if done properly, there's only so many tickets. Like during the pre-sale, not the entire arena or whatever goes on sale. It's X amount. I don't know what the number is. Let's say 100 tickets. I'm sure it's probably more than that, but let's say 100 tickets that are available to the American Express people, blah, 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 blah.
And what tickets are those?
Well, they're usually the more expensive ones.
Right, they're the front row tickets. And then the thing is that people that are fans, they save their money. They're looking, forward to this. And I think it's unfair that somebody who, just because they have a better credit card, has a leg over them, as to when they have access to these tickets. Because you know what? Aside from pre-sale, there's been so many times that I've been on there and I'm like,
oh no, yeah.
I have the money, I want front row as close as possible. And it's like, they're all gone. And I'm like, but how can they be all gone? Like, I just logged on.
Let's move away from the pre-sale of it all. Like, ticket brokers, I think, is a huge, I don't know how they do it. I don't know what kind of bots they have. That they are the ones that are the scourge of all of this. Well,
quite frankly, with this, they still do, because I actually just took a screenshot of like one. I forget what stadium this is for SoFi. Her show in SoFi Stadium. I'm going to show
that one?
That's in LA.
LA.
The purple's already sold.
So the only thing left is one sliver of blue.
Right. It's already sold. Like, I would say that probably...
And the general hasn't gone on sale.
Probably 90% of the show is already sold. All the floor tickets are sold. So what chance do you have for a regular concert goer that has saved their money to, maybe somebody who's young, maybe it's somebody who's like...
Their first concert.
Yeah. They're 19, 20 years old. They're in college. Their dream is to see like Taylor Swift. They've been saving their money. They don't have all these perks yet,
Right.
Now they can't go see her because of all this.
But I will say, most of those have to be bought up by third-party brokers.
Right, Ishmael, but that's the whole point.
But I'm just, now here's my curiosity, right? Supply and demand of it all, right? Like, okay, I know why the brokers they bought them up because they want to resell them, right? Like, let's just follow the through line here. If you're charging $95,000 or whatever, like, the majority of people can't afford that. So at some point, these brokers are just not going to make their money back.
But they do, because the problem is it's sort of like when houses are on sale, right? All it takes is a few bad apples to inflate the price, right? It's sort of like a house, when that's why there's so much mortgage fraud, because if an appraiser is like, give me money under the table and I'm going to appraise your house, $80,000 over the comparable. Over the comparables, and somebody buys it, that's it, right? That is now the comparable price to it, right?
Okay.
And the same goes with this. Ticketmaster has been known, like, this is not a secret, of working with ticket scalpers to inflate the prices of tickets.
Didn't you have an incident recently when you were looking for tickets on something that it said Ticketmaster, but it it wasn't. Was it you?
Oh yeah, when I was looking for tickets initially for Demi
Demi.
Lovato, that I was looking through the tickets, and the website looked like Ticketmaster and all that, and I'm like, okay, I love me some Demi, right? But Demi Lovato tickets are not $800, right? Especially in her case here in Miami at the Hard Rock venue. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, and these weren't even front row seats.
Okay, right.
And I almost fell for it, and that's me, right? And those tickets, when you would click on them, they would send you back to Ticketmaster.
Right. So
Because
clearly there's some type of connection.
Right, they were being held because in Ticketmaster you could resell them.
Yeah.
Right, but then a third party, like for example, if I buy them on Ticketmaster, right, and I resell them, I could do it through a third party. Right. So it's something that they need to crack down on that, and then on top of that, all the fees.
True, the
fees
inconvenience
can be
fees.
between $40 to $50
Per ticket.
You know what? And this doesn't only affect like a Taylor Swift concert or a concert in general. It affects even like Disney on Ice.
Oh yeah, no, everything that happens at a venue. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, if you're a parent and you're a family of 4, the way things are now, and you chuckled up enough money to
Take the kids to see Disney on Ice.
Disney on Ice. Oh no, now you have to pay a convenience fee of like $40 a head.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
It's just, I really hope that with how
I'm glad it happened to this group of
and
people.
organized
Yes.
the Swifties
Yes.
are, whatever.
Again, I'm glad if it had to happen. I don't mean it in a malicious way. I mean it like that, because these are people who are like, no. And she has enough clout that I feel she has the clout that Eddie Vedder wishes he had when he's tried to take them on.
I've come around with her.
I don't have an issue with her as far. I think she's talented, but I don't get it. It's not for me.
So I've never ever been a Taylor Swift fan, and I'm not gonna even say I am one now. I did like casually some of her songs.
Yeah, here and there.
I still like that, which was one of her first songs, or from her second album, I think. Can't you see?
Right.
You belong with me.
I like this one song of hers where like the video she's like in a mansion or something.
Oh, Blank Space.
Yeah.
I think Blank Space has like the lyrics are really cool.
She's
all that.
She's talented. She's a great lyricist. Like, I don't take away her talent. I just don't get it.
Before like I appreciated her talent
From afar.
but I was like, that's not for me.
Right.
But then she did that 11-minute version of
On that folklore album or whatever.
yes, what was the name of the song that it came out last year?
You're asking the wrong person. But it was a cover of her song. No.
Well, no, because what she did was that she re-released All Too Well. She re-released, she's re-releasing her albums.
Right.
To own the masters. So All Too Well was, I think, a song that she had written during the sessions of the Red album.
Okay.
So then she properly completed it and recorded it, and it's 11 minutes long, right? When I heard her singing that song on SNL, I was like, this is good. Because like lyrically, I'm all about the lyrics.
You are, and you love a singer-songwriter.
Yeah, you exactly. I'm all about the singer-songwriter. I was like, these lyrics are really good. Like, they're really, really good. And then what sort of kind of... Again, I'm by no means a fan of hers.
If you could see his face while he's saying this.
But this album that came out now, Midnight, Rolling Stone gave it 5 stars. And you know that I actually... You know how I feel about reviews and critics? But I actually sort of listen to Rolling Stone.
Well, because they don't give anything a good review.
Yeah, when Rolling Stone gives you a
if
good
they
review...
like something...
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? Usually the albums that they have given really good reviews for, that I've taken a leap of faith on, I'm like, okay, this is not a singer I care for, or even a genre I care for. I'm going to go for it.
Right.
It's usually
Their
good.
own point.
At midnight, it's actually really good.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I'm just not a Taylor Swiftie, but
I mean, I'm not gonna go see her in concert.
Right, well, no,
like, I would go see.
You couldn't.
You know how I would go see her in concert if like she put on this show, right? And like I don't know, 2 or 3 months after the tickets went on sale, they had decent tickets left that were like maybe $80-$90. I'll be like,
No, I'd go if I was still at the agency and a media partner said, "Hey, do you want to go and sit in the box and go to Taylor Swift?" I'd be like, "Sure."
But I don't think I would pay more than $100 to see Taylor Swift.
No, I don't get it. She's not for me.
Yeah. Well, Swifties aren't going to give us their endorsement.
No, they're not. But listen, we said that we recognize. I said, I'm going to take it from me. I said I recognize her talent and that she's very talented. I respect it. Just not a fan.
But you would go see S Club 7.
I would totally go see S Club 7.
Or Steps.
Absolutely. I just bought their last album. Yeah.
I don't know any songs of theirs.
Of Steps?
Or S Club 7.
Or S Club 7. And you call yourself British.
No, because
Lover of British
you
pop.
know what? Okay, so I like me some pop music,
Yeah.
but theirs is just there's like other level like cheesy.
They're like the epitome of guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Except I don't do guilty pleasures because I own up to everything.
Right.
But yes.
But this is like other level.
Yes.
Like to me, S Club 7 makes the Spice Girls look like an alternative emo band.
My word.
Right?
I mean, you're not 100% wrong, but
You know, like
I mean, it's a
because-
step,
and,
yeah.
Like Steps said, is this Steps the one that did a whole ABBA thing?
No, that was another group. That was like teenagers, 18s that they did.
Oh, 18s.
Yes,
I remember them.
Yeah. No, Steps' whole shtick is that every one of their singles, when they would release it, because they're called Steps, so it would come with like a dance routine.
Oh, boy.
That they would put like in the little CD
Was
single.
Steps ever was sponsored by Dance Party? What was it?
Dance Revolution?
Yeah.
Or, no, I don't think so.
This was before their time.
Or maybe they were
Maybe
in
they
the UK.
inspired
Maybe.
the Dance Revolution.
Maybe they did.
Wow. So, oh.
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everybody knows the holidays can be a time of great joy and togetherness with the food, parties, and family. But they can also be a time that causes us to feel anxiety, stress, or even depression. And let's face it, having your tia tell you que cambies la cara during dinner doesn't exactly help. What you need, and maybe your tia también, is a gift to yourself. The ability to speak with a professional about your experiences. Enter BetterHelp. A customized online therapy provider, BetterHelp offers therapy options that align with your time via phone, video, text, or even live chat sessions with a certified therapist. BetterHelp's customized approach matches you with a therapist in under 48 hours based on your needs and creating the opportunity to help you better understand yourself. And as a special offer for Pero Let Me Tell You listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/pero. It's already more affordable than in-person therapy, and now you can save on your first month. There's even a gifting option if you'd like to help someone you care about understand the benefits of therapy in their life. We should all have a happy holiday season, and BetterHelp has helped millions take the first step in that path. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/pero. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast and this episode.
But you know who's having probably an even worse week
Who?
than Taylor Swift's fans not getting tickets?
Who?
Your girl, Candace Cameron Bure.
Yeah. Candace is having a bad week.
She's having a bad week. Now, I have to say, as per usual, I think people are a little out of hand.
Blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah, because so for those of you who don't know, Candace Cameron this week was interviewed because she's become like the chief creative officer or something at Great American Family, which is it's a network, a cable channel that's existed for a bit now. It's now being run by the former head of the Hallmark channel. So what he's essentially doing is, if it worked once, let's do it again. He's gonna come now. Great American Family has a whole shit ton of Christmas movies. Like every year they do more and they do more and they do more. So now, she's the former queen of Hallmark Christmas movies. She's now over here. She's doing it. And so in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, and give me 1 second, because I did actually, I wanted to make sure I got this right. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal,
The whiteboard comment.
She said that, quote unquote, Great American Family will keep traditional marriage at the core. And then she also then told USA Today about inclusivity on the channel, that Great American Family would, quote, have people of all ethnicities, but is, quote, going to focus on traditional families. Quote, "We certainly don't want to be exactly like any other network, and I know that Great American Family will focus on tradition." She also said the network will, quote unquote, lean into the faith element, adding, "That means more storytelling about the Christian faith and talking about God, and not just making God a general statement of belief, but actually talking about Jesus and more specifics of the Christian faith." Now, of course, what that turned into is everyone's headline is Candace Cameron hates fags. Like that's, I mean, like, you know, Candace Cameron wants, you know, to, you know, burn dikes and sprinkle them on Christmas trees. Like that's, you know, what it turned into. And I have to say, y'all need to calm the fuck down. Like, this is a woman who has always told you she is a Christian. And I don't think she has necessarily, now, maybe her choice of words isn't how I would have put it, you know, traditional family. I know that's maybe not put the best way.
Well, there's also
but she hasn't. It's not like she came out and said, "Oh no, we will never have gay people." Like, I mean, she wasn't.
She also said that
she wasn't rude about it
in the same article. Because she responded to this, she said that in the same article there was a quote that was not put in the article where she said that she will also welcome people of all identities and races, blah blah blah. In front or in behind the scenes or behind the camera. You know, she said that she was sort of not misquoted, but they only put part of the quote and not the whole thing.
Which doesn't surprise me. I mean, you know, people can edit backwards and forwards, but I'm like, you know what, guys, again, we're talking, and now of course everybody's like, you know, oh, Candace Cameron is a homophobe and this and that, and it's like, look, I don't know Candace Cameron. You know, personally, if I did, God knows we would have said it by now, and also it wouldn't have taken us that long to get on the set of Fuller House. But I don't see it, and I think this is the epitome of people jumping on things and, like, as I like to say, a non-troversy. And then when you have people like, you know, your favorite alopecia victim Jojo Siwa, you know, coming out and being like, really, after what we went through the last few months and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, you need to calm down because now what it's
to quote Taylor Swift.
Yeah, you need to calm down. Yeah. Because I can just see this turning into like, you know, look, Jojo C was upset, and you know how she had a beef with Candace Cameron, and I'm sure Candace Cameron ignored her when because she was a lesbian, right? It's like, okay, no, like, stop and, like, people,
okay, so here's my thing about it.
I'm so conflicted because it's like, people need to stand up and speak, but I feel like people are now just wanting to insert themselves into things that no one has asked them to insert themselves into.
Okay, so...
Does that make sense?
Yes. So, I have two train of thoughts on this. On the one hand, I do agree that there has been a bit of an overreaction regarding this because I've followed Candace Cameron for quite some time, and she's very measured in how she speaks, right? And she's very measured in how she speaks regarding her faith insofar of not offending people, right? So, yes, she did say what you're saying. That is sort of consistent with things that she has said before. If I'm being completely honest, I've seen like stuff on YouTube of hers that like talks that she would give at like Christian universities and stuff that I've actually turned off because the thing is that I like Candace Cameron and I don't want to dislike her. It's sort of like willful ignorance in a way, right? Okay. That, you know, we're all guilty of doing with certain people that we like because Full House is my favorite show. I grew up on her. I like her. I like her energy, but at the same time, I think that.
But she wasn't going to win,
right. But I think that at the same time, she could have. I look, in hindsight, everything is 20/20, right? So we could sit back now and pinpoint like everything she should have said and what she should have said differently. But I think that whatever your opinion on gay marriage is, right? I think especially as somebody in the public eye, and knowing that you have a platform, you could say things without saying things. Because I think that she could have said, a great American whatever family, we're going to do family programming. We're going to have a lot of family programming because family programming is something that is missing in today's landscape of whatever television. And we are also going to introduce some stories that are Christian based. Boom. She just said everything she said without saying it.
Right. But again, that's the benefit of hindsight.
Right. But the moment that you start now saying, okay, we're going to focus on these people, but we're not going to focus on these people. I mean, look, I think that anybody, even before this came out, I think everybody knew that you were probably not going to see that type of diversity on this channel.
Right.
Right? I think that was a given.
Right.
Right? That's why I feel that that's not something she needed to stress.
Well, but if they ask her the question...
Right, but I don't think that they particularly asked her the question. I think that she was just talking about to the programming. And I think that even if they asked her the question, right? Let's say that they did. I think there's a way that you could say things without not saying them. And you have to be very careful because it's just the world that we live in. And you want to be inclusive. And you know what? Candace Cameron, for however Christian she may be, Candace Cameron has a gay following because she's from she's from a sitcom and she's campy and all that stuff.
Right.
Not that she has a huge gay following like RuPaul or like a Madonna or a Lady Gaga
or Cher.
Right, but there's people who grew.
It just is right.
There it is. So I think that she needs to be. I mean, she could say whatever she wants, but you need to be a little bit careful with the way that you say things.
I've just never gotten the vibe off of her that she's disrespectful in that regard.
I think that she's your typical person that's probably a Christian. She's kind to everybody.
But this is how she lives her life.
Right, but this is what she lives her life since she believes in traditional marriage. That's her opinion. But she is a public figure and she has a very big platform, right? And the thing with Candace Cameron is that her content isn't exclusively Christian, right?
Right.
And she's living in two different worlds, and let's not make no doubt about it. Christian programming and the Christian, sort of dome bubble, that's very much a thing because there's people that they only listen to Christian music, they only watch Christian programming. Everything is about their faith, and if that's you do boo, to quote one of our friends, and that's fine. But then she also does things that are not in the Christian sphere.
Right.
So if she's going to straddle those both worlds, she needs to have some accountability with what she says. Because it's like, okay, you're being Christian for all these things, but then when it's something that's very commercial, then you want everybody, you want mass market appeal, right? And that's why when she said, oh, we're focusing on traditional marriage, that's a very diplomatic way of putting it. But I think that she could have just said, we're a family, family programming. That's what we're going to do.
But even that, I think, would have prompted people to be like, well, what do you mean by family programming?
Okay,
what kind of family?
Program.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like, she wasn't going to win, no matter how she phrased it. And I also think a big part of that is because she has a squeaky clean image. Why did everybody get so, took a certain amount of glee when Lori Loughlin got caught up in the scandal?
Yeah.
Why? Because she was on Becky. Fuller House, right? Like, Full House. There's a certain degree of, I got you. You're going to have this squeaky clean image? Well, no, you know what? Now I'm going to...
I mean, look, I tried to see this issue...
I just think...
I tried to see this issue as disconnected as I could, right? And yes, I think that some of the comments that people have made, it's like, okay, that's not what she was saying. Personally, obviously, I believe it's bullshit. I like the Hallmark Channel, the people that have a problem with the Hallmark Channel. Okay, let's talk about the Hallmark Channel movies, okay? So there's like, let's say, I don't know,
scripts,
200 movies that come out during the holidays, the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
Out of those 200, maybe I think 2 of them are with a black cast,
Right.
or with some black people in the movie.
I think this year we are getting a Hanukkah one.
We're getting a Hanukkah one, and now apparently there's a gay one.
There's a gay one. Yes.
Right. Okay, so we have 1 gay one, 1 Hanukkah one, 2 with Holly Robinson Pete.
Right.
And Kelly Rowland, I think, did one.
Yes. Tia or Tamara did one.
Right. So, okay, so you have 2 or 3 of,
quote unquote ethnic ones.
People that are not white and blonde.
Right.
And then, 99.5% of the programming is white and blonde, right? So it's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that's also one of the reasons why people have hated this so much, because it's not like, okay, well, Candace Cameron was like doing films for Bravo, and Bravo took Bravo as a network, changed
demographic.
They're
Right.
like, oh, we're gonna go with different programming, and now she's like, okay, well, this is not what I signed
Right.
up
I'm not
for,
a Real
right?
Housewife. Yeah.
Right? No, she was on freaking Hallmark.
Right.
Like, you couldn't get more
Benign
than that. So, okay, you're gonna one up this because.
Right.
I think that's part of the problem, and again, it's I mean, to the bigger concept, I mean, you're already erasing people that are marginalized and people that have very little representation, and the little morsel that they had at Hallmark, like little, it's like the scrap of a scrap of a scrap. Like, okay, you have a problem with that? I mean,
like, yeah, really.
Right, because it's not
There's
like
one movie.
Because it's not like, okay, people that are either Christian or believe in traditional marriage don't have enough to watch.
Right, they're taking away our content.
Right.
Right.
Again, if this would be Bravo or something,
I love how like that became your
because
benchmark.
I thought, okay, what's the network that has the most gay shows? Okay, Bravo, right? I think Bravo's gayer than, what is it, Logo?
Well, yeah, because Logo now just shows Mama's Family.
Right. Logo took the route of ahorita Logo starts airing. Isn't Logo owned by Viacom?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, you know they're gonna start airing ridiculousness,
Oh,
right?
I'm sure that they're gonna start airing ridiculous nas.
Yes.
Yeah, lots of S's and an exclamation point at the end. Yeah.
They'll remarket it.
Yeah, hosted by Carla Croqueta. Yes.
But I mean, yeah, it's just the world we live in, and I mean, I for one, I think that these type of things, you need to call them out. There's no,
but there's a degree of measurement of, like, I mean,
yes, I agree. I don't think you should go out and be like, what
burn her to the ground, like, yeah.
Right. I don't think, because that's not the energy she projects,
Right.
right? So I think you have to be measured in the way that you call that out, right? I think your response needs to be equal to the commentary of the person that you're disagreeing with.
Right, but then we also live in a world now where if you don't scream louder, you won't be showing up in the comment section.
Well, scream if you want to go louder.
Faster. Yeah.
Scream if you want to go faster.
That's right. To paraphrase, Ms. Jerry Halliwell Horner.
So, what else is going on this week?
Oh, a lot of stuff is going on this week. Well, did you see that, that there were layoffs at Twitter and then they were asked to come back? Did you see that?
I did, but
that was wonderful.
I don't even know.
That was wonderful because that to me is the epitome of, like, I'm gonna change things without knowing what the fuck is going on.
Right. But freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. I'm like, right. And then you wonder, no, the reason advertisers were pausing is because of this.
Yeah.
You got rid of the people who were regulating shit, and then you want advertisers to be like, everything's perfect, fine as usual. You fire the workforce, then you hire, a bulk of them back. No, you're demonstrating why we were smart to pause.
Right. I don't know. I think I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks that sometimes he's in on it.
I don't know that he's that self-aware.
No, but he's a bit of a narcissist, Elon Musk, and I mean, I believe that the stock price has dipped or it's lost money, so that makes
it's because he started allowing anybody to have the blue check, and then real companies' stock prices started plummeting because these parody accounts were coming out.
You know that short time those blue checks were around, I couldn't tell the difference
because you can't.
Yeah.
You can't, and therein lies the problem with if everybody's special, nobody's special, like, and it had real world consequences.
Well, but that's why I had asked you when all this started that I was like, when the whole acquisition was being tossed around, I was like, well, was Twitter in trouble? Was like Twitter losing money?
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm sure it could always stand to be more profitable, but I don't think it was hurting necessarily. Yeah.
Oh, so I want to touch base on a post we did earlier this week that blew up about the FTX Arena.
Oh, the Fatuks.
The Fatuks. So, unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard that FTX cryptocurrency, whatever,
something crypto is in trouble.
Filed bankruptcy, and now
someone alert Mayor Postalita.
Well, you know what's so funny? Mayor Postalita on I think October 22nd. Mm-hmm. It was either September 22nd or October 22nd. A short time before the bankruptcy filing. Said that FTX is like one of the greatest companies ever and like the company of the future. Lord. And literally days later they went bankrupt. Yeah. And not only did they go bankrupt, but now they're
what chapter?
Probably 13. But now, surprise, surprise, they're finding all these irregularities and ties.
What?
And
irregularities in an unregulated black market currency, you say? No. Heavens to Betsy. Did you also hear that water is wet?
Yeah, really?
It is. They just discovered that. Yes.
So we posted earlier in the week because now that the FTX Arena is no longer the FTX Arena.
That's done, right? Like, bye-bye?
Yes, they're looking for a new name.
They are, okay.
Sure. We brought in the conversation that we had last year in season 4.
Because we know how to pivot.
About Marlins Park at that time being called Jupiña Ballpark.
Yes.
And we posted on our Instagram a treatment of what the arena would look like if it was Jupiña Arena. Yes. And we put a pineapple on the roof and all that. And Cowie Brewery or Bottling caught on and they reposted it, which they're the bottling company that produces Jupiña. And I am still going for Jupiña Stadium.
Yes.
Although I have to say...
Did you say Farm Stores is making a bid for it?
La Vaquita.
Yes. Farm Stores, I think they've even set up like a...
Okay, but is this for real?
They set up a link. Like they want to make
oh my god, they can put
bid.
A giant cow over on the roof.
They're making I don't know how serious it is, but they're yes. It looks like
okay, Jupiña number 1.
Yes, but if we can't get Jupiña,
Vaquita number 2.
Right.
Okay. Now that you said Vaquita, I feel that La Vaquita has the best ice cream.
It really does. And it's like soft.
I don't know what it is about the stuff you buy in La Vaquita that I feel that they're so good. Like, I hate those big honey bun cinnamon roll things.
Yes.
But the ones from La Vaquita are like freaking fire.
Maybe it's because you're buying it on the go.
I don't know. I think it's something mental. Why don't we have more Vaquitas? Why have they closed down?
I don't know. There are still a lot of them around the country because they are a franchise. Farm stores. There are a lot of them around. I have really good memories. Like on the way home from my parents' house. Well, leaving my parents' house to go to my grandparents' house because it was the summer and we would spend the night. And like my grandmother being like, "Ay, Arturo, pasa por la Vaquita que hacemos falta comprar leche." You know, because at 10 o'clock,
right,
that's just what you did. You drove into the little drive-through La Vaquita and you got the leche and you got some donuts.
We missed La Vaquita. Now that La Vaquita is next to my house, is now a smoothie king.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Apparently, there's one on La Ocho that is kind of like hip and happening now. It's still La Vaquita. It's a farm stores, but it's got like artisanal pizza or something like that.
I remember that this was like in the 80s and 90s. My grandmother, my dad's mom, she used to live by like 8th Street and 120 something. Mm-hmm. That there was a Vaquita there, but it was in a strip mall, and I'm like, no,
that's weird.
It's weird. It doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know
the ice cream doesn't taste the same.
You have to go way too far inside.
Yeah, no.
You've got to be able to just drive up, keep going.
Listeners, did you go to the Vaquita?
Yes,
we miss La Vaquita.
We do miss
our
La
farm
Vaquita.
stores. They're eggnog.
You know, I don't like eggnog, but I'm down for La Vaquita eggnog.
Eggnog, yeah. The cow on the stadium roof, on the arena roof, that'll be awesome.
If we can't have Jupiña,
so because our whole thing about Jupiña Stadium went sort of viral, so then other people started jumping in because
I feel like it did happen after you posted it.
You know why? I'm going to tell you why.
Because I was
when
not
the
in
bankruptcy
town.
was released, when it made news at like 8:30 in the morning.
You texted me like right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
I posted it maybe half an hour later.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is going to be a thing.
Right.
So that's why I posted our thing immediately. I was like, I took out my laptop and I photoshopped that pineapple on the
roof.
thing. And then later I did. And then like a day or two later, all these other treatments.
Right.
I sort of like, the names have been all over the place. I kind of like Leon Medical Center. Because you know that being Miami, it would totally be called Leon Medical Center.
That is wonderful. Okay. Jupiña, Vaquita, Leon Medical Center. Yes.
Right. And I kind of like the other one that I saw, Navarro Discount Center. And I sort of like the one that I think literally...
That one wouldn't happen because since they're owned by CVS, it would never...
I think it was literally Dade posted that it was Palacio de Jugos Arena.
That one with all the stripes?
And they painted it in
It actually
stripes.
looked okay. It was very slimming.
Yes. And I also like the one for Big Daddy's Arena that would be out to Flanagan's. So you paint the arena in green and Flanagan green.
Everybody gets a free Flanagan's cup.
Yep. I mean, the memes wrote themselves.
Yeah, it really did.
They just wrote themselves. I just think it's so telling that this whole like cryptocurrency thing, how our mayor Francis Suarez is like a crypto bro, all that bullshit. And this was supposed to be like the beacon on the hill, right? Like we have FTX Arena, right?
To show like the power of crypto,
rights,
right?
And they went bankrupt. Right. And what's great is that they had installed because they had put a sign on the roof, but it was like provisional sign.
Oh, so it wasn't even.
It wasn't
finalized.
the permanent one. They had actually put the permanent one that it cost I don't know how many millions of dollars. I think like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So if all else fails, I just think they should call it the Miami Arena.
What a concept.
Right?
It's almost like we had one before.
Almost. And paint that shit pink.
Paint it pink with a blue cursive.
Paint it pink.
Yes.
Unmistakable. But yes, I'm still going for... Oh, yeah. Can you imagine flying in? You see the beautiful Biscayne Bay. You see Miami Beach. You see the cruises. You see the skyline. And you see a giant pineapple. And look, the pineapple from Bongos is
still
already there.
It's still... The work is halfway done.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, this is upcycling. So...
I'm sure... They don't have a restaurant there anymore, right?
No.
They don't have anything in that area.
I think they have like a
for like special events.
Special events thing, or like a special events club. It's not something that's like general to the general public, but yeah, Leon Medical Center.
That's great. That's what it should be called.
I love how like in English it's like Leon Medical Center. It's like Leon Medical Center is not Leon.
That's like we said, Maria Elvira Salazar is not the same person as Maria Elvira Sarizal.
But I'm telling you, with Jupiña, not only that Jupiña is so relevant to Miami, but again, I would just pay to listen to these sportscasters. Hi, we're at Jupiña Stadium.
At Jupiña.
Jupiña Stadium.
Jupiña?
Is it Jupiña? Jupiña?
How do you pronounce when it's got the little thing over the end?
Jupiña. Jupiña, they can't. Los americanos no van a decir ñ, so forget it.
So ya empezamos con el pie izquierdo.
Jupiña Stadium. Jupiña, the official drink of the NBA Miami Heat.
I could see it.
You want to tell me you're from Miami without telling me you're from Miami?
Our official drink of the NBA team is Jupiña.
Jupiña. Do you remember their song?
Jupiña?
Jupiña, Jupiña, en cada lata hay una piña con puro sabor a piña.
I don't know. Are you making up a song right now?
I'm not making up a song. Jupiña. And then, you know what I used to do? I used to sing it and I would be provocative. I'll be like, Jupiña, Jupiña, en cada lata hay una.
Oh, no.
Con puro sabor a.
Oh,
and then I'd be like, you dirty-minded person. I was talking about pineapples.
And that's you. You're not even the dirty
You
one.
had never heard that song?
I had never heard it.
Yeah.
Or if I had, I don't remember it.
No, clearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jupiña Stadium, number one. That's our
goal.
Vaquita.
I know it would be. See, that's the thing. You know, it would be Farm Stores Arena, but everybody would call it La Vaquita.
La Vaquita.
As we right because
a la Vaquita Arena.
La Vaquita Arena.
No, La Vaquita Arena. And then what you do is in like the front of the arena where all the stairs are, you sort of built a makeshift sort of Vaquita with that angular rooftop. That could be like the gate into the arena,
Okay. I'm with you.
right? Farm Stores Arena,
All right.
right? And then Leon Medical
Center.
Center.
And you can have Willie Chirino play.
I mean,
Well, he's the spokesperson for Leo.
come on.
He could inaugurate it.
Oh yeah, you know he inaugurated the stadium.
He did.
Triple A,
Oh.
the American Airlines Arena. Who do you think?
Pitbull.
No, it was
Gloria?
Of course. Don't you remember that the American Airlines Arena opened December 31st, 1999?
I do not.
And the Millennium Concert was by Gloria Estefan.
Oh no, I don't remember. I don't remember when.
I really wanted to go. And it was perfect. It's like, of course, Gloria Estefan was the one who opened the stadium. Could there really have been anybody else?
This is true. That's fair. Yeah.
So,
Ay, Dios mío. Oye, mi gente, Ish here, and with the holidays happening, we all know that we're about to get caught up in tremendo corre-corre. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy something delicious while running holiday errands. There's only one solution for awesome Cuban food that's fast. You know we're talking about Cuban Guys restaurants. With 5 locations in South Florida, yeah, even one in Broward, there's no excuse to eat anything else when you're out and about. Beyond exhausted after Black Friday shopping all morning, swing by a Cuban Guys for pan con tortilla y por supuesto un café con leche. Hungry after waiting in line for hours to pick up a lechon? Have some Cuban Guys fritas and un batido. The kids están jodiendo on the way to Tia Gloria's house? Pop in and grab a cubanito sandwich for them while you enjoy the Cuban Guys sandwich. Cuban Guys restaurants lo tiene todo, and you can dine in or order ahead for pickup or delivery. Así que visit CubanGuysRestaurants.com to find the nearest location and start enjoying the awesome Cuban food you deserve this holiday season.
anyway, is this soda time?
I think it could be soda time.
I actually know who I'm going to give my last soda to this week.
All right,
Now
bring it
that
on.
we're thirsty and we want a soda. I'm actually going to give my soda
Okay.
to Paul Ryan, who's a Republican.
Former speaker.
The former Speaker of the House, Paul
Okay.
Ryan, who's a Republican. I'm actually
He kind of looks like a grown-up Eddie Munster,
I'm actually going to give him a soda, and I'm going to tell you why.
and not a gasless one.
No, I'm giving him a full soda.
Okay, carbonated,
Carbonated and
fresh,
fresh.
crisp.
You know why? Because as many of you know, this was a Nancy Pelosi's last week as Speaker of the House.
Yes.
And not only is she no longer going to be Speaker, she's not going to lead. She's not going to seek a leadership role, because now that the Democrats are not the majority in the Senate, she could be the minority leader, right?
Right.
So she could still be in a leadership position, but she's seeking not to. And you know, good for her.
She's
in
like
her
1,000
80s,
years old.
You
Yeah.
know, whatever. And Paul Ryan tweeted today. And you know, he's a Republican.
Yeah.
And he's been very critical of Democrats and their policies.
But of their policies.
And he tweeted, I tip my cap as I welcome Speaker Pelosi to the former Speakers Club and congratulate her on a historic career in the House. And I actually responded to that. And I said, while I have never agreed with your politics, you're a class act. So I thought it was important, you know, to show that here's a man who is a Republican who, again, he was, if you remember when he was in government, he was very critical of Democrats' policies, and that's fair game, right?
Policies is the key word there.
That's fair game. But today, you know, he took time to congratulate her and wish her well. And that is being a class act. And that is what is missing in our government today, right? Because a lot of other people said a lot of worse things, right? And the fact that that man was able to put his politics over her politics to congratulate her, as one does, I thought that spoke volumes, and that's what we need again in our government. And my last soda goes to him.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, and I'm tying this together. During the midterm elections, or right after the midterm elections, when the results are coming in for Pennsylvania, CNN wrote an article, or an op-ed, as it were, about how, you know, Dr. Oz had done something, you know, that was to be commended. It was tongue-in-cheek, but basically what they were saying was that he had called and said, I concede, congratulations, you know, and how that had become how sadly that had become something that we now look to as, oh, we commend you on having dignity. We commend you on being able to move on with your life and accept results and things like that. So, I don't know. Here's hoping that that's, a sign of something positive to come down the pike.
So Paul, go have your soda and then you go jog.
He can go jog. He can have a hoopinha.
He's a jogger.
Yes.
He's been on the cover of Runner's World.
He looks like he has a jogger's build.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, my soda is not as effervescent and gaseous. Mine is a gasless soda, and I'm giving it to the government of Iran.
I'm glad you said the government.
Yeah. Well, and it's a very, very clear distinction that has to be made. So for those of you who don't know, there's been a lot of civil unrest recently in Iran. All stemming from an incident that happened on September 13th, where a 22-year-old by the name, and I apologize for the pronunciation, a 22-year-old by the name of Masa Jina Amini, was arrested and detained by Iran's, and I can't say this with enough air quotes, morality police, for what was perceived to be an improper wearing of the hijab while on a family trip to Iran. So this woman was arrested. She was beaten. I think she died, if I remember correctly, from her injuries sustained. And so what happened after that was they've been having protests, specifically really led by women. There have been, in 62 days, 62 protests. 16,000 people have been detained since the protests began, and at least 372 protesters have been killed. 493 students have been arrested. 144 cities have participated in the protests, and there's an estimated 57 people under the age of 18 that have been killed since the protests began. But one of the main reasons that I'm giving it to the government of Iran is because they are, in essence, they have said that all these 16 people who have been detained in connection to this are to be condemned to death. Like, for protesting. Like, just stop and think about that. They went out and they had their voices heard, and because they're calling, I'm reading from a quote here, Iranian lawmakers called for the severe punishment of those who incited riots and called them mohareb, which in Islamic or Sharia law means enemy of God and carries with it the death penalty. So, people don't like what you're doing and they're telling you and they're protesting, you don't get to condemn 16,000 people to death. And I really hope that we take an eye to what's happening in Iran whenever, we have protests here that are way smaller in scope and in terms of what's being asked for. And we blow it all out of proportion. You know what? That is a right. Our right to protest, our right to assembly, not protest, our right to assembly, which translates to protest many times. Peaceful protest is something that we cannot take lightly. And I don't think that anybody should be sentenced to death just for expecting to have their voice heard, especially when it's, for something like quote unquote morality police. Like, who in blazes are you to tell me what is or isn't moral? That's a bigger topic of Sharia law and all of that.
The reason why you have to keep religion out of government at all costs.
Absolutely.
That is the perfect example of separation of
church and state.
Because if you think that the case with Iran and their morality police is extreme, but if you think that mixing religion into policy doesn't open the door
slippery
to
slope
issues like, not necessarily like this, but issues of like, you can't protest this, you can't do that, these people can't come here, you can't wear that, you can't do this, because it's based on whatever
your
faith
belief
is and your beliefs, that is how things get complicated very quickly. So that is why it's so important for there to be a big old wall between church and state. You practice,
build that wall,
and you believe what you want, and you do it to the fullest extent of your
heart,
of your ability. But don't force that.
Don't tell me how I have to live my
else.
Yeah.
What's going on there is absolutely awful.
I feel like it's getting a weird amount of attention, but not.
It's like everything else.
But is it just me, or like, because I feel like it's getting attention, at least on social media. I mean, a lot of people I see posting about it, but I don't feel like I'm hearing about it in a bigger scale. Or is it? Or
no, I mean, look, it's like anything else. It's like news cycles that come and go, and you know, they when it was first starting to happen, they would air it on the news with more extensive coverage. Now it's like a little blurb, if any.
Okay.
So I just think it's a news cycle thing. This week it did come across because of those. They started laying down those decisions on the people being executed. So it kind of
16,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a small town.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's unacceptable.
And you know what? And that's why, that's another thing. You know, when people here in the United States start saying certain things, it's like, you know, two things can be true, right?
Right.
You can be critical of the country and critical of its history and its past and of, you know, issues that it currently has, and hold the people accountable that need to be held accountable. But you can also have a perspective of saying, like, okay, even though there are issues here and there are a lot of inequities here, you know, there are places in the world where this is happening,
Right.
where this is the government,
Yeah.
right? So it's all perspective. Yeah, that's absolutely horrible. I have to tell you that whole issue with Iran that's going on right now, that's one of those issues that we talk about so much that, like, you feel impotent, that you want to do something about.
But what can
sort
you
of like
do
when the
about it?
Syrian civil war was going, it's like I like, what can I do? What something, right?
Amplify their voices.
And it's you feel a certain level of impotence, and just going around your day in your basic routine, and you stop for a moment and you have a moment of like clarity and deep thought, and you think that there's people in the world that are going through what these people are going through. It's just gut wrenching, and it's one of those things that consume you, because it's like, how do you address that? How do you answer that? And it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. So, yeah. So, well, let's.
I ended on a sour,
on a lighter note.
Yeah.
Since it's Thanksgiving weekend, we, you know what? Who I wanted to just briefly mention, sending good wishes and good vibes. Jay Leno.
Oh yeah, el pobre.
Jay Leno had a very serious accident this last week that an engine blew up in his face, and he suffered third-degree burns, and he's in the hospital. And you know, Jay Leno's such a freaking ray of sunshine. You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's talk about a freak accident. A guy who's always been around cars.
Yeah. That car had given him a hard time before.
No, well.
Yeah. No, because now they're showing footage of it and all that.
Okay.
Because there's one of these cars that you had to sort of light the motor on fire.
Why would you have that car?
Well,
why would you use that car?
Well, and they actually have footage of him in the car, and so that's the one that gave him the hard time, that blew up in his face.
Now it's giving him a harder time.
So, yeah.
I mean,
but you know what? I have to tell you that as much as I enjoy Jimmy Fallon, I know you don't. I love Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show. I've always watched the Tonight Show, always.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I used to watch Johnny Carson.
Same.
I've always watched the Tonight Show. I don't know why, but it's always been the Tonight Show. Mira, that I appreciated David Letterman, Conan O'Brien when he had his stint, but I've always watched the Tonight Show. But anyway, the Tonight Show. Jay Leno, I missed headlines.
Yeah, I think he had like peak era of Tonight Show stuff.
Yeah, I miss headlines while jaywalking.
Yeah, he was still in that moment where there was water cooler talk.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't have to become a viral thing. It was, did you see Leno last night? And right. that's no longer the case.
Because I've seen so much stuff on TikTok of like influencers that go around asking people.
That's
like
jaywalking.
Geography questions. I was like, is this jaywalking?
Jaywalking was the first Billy on the street.
Yeah. That's the worst thing that happened with Bros. It's not that Bros, the movie by Billy Eichner, was a bomb. Was that Billy Eichner stopped doing Billy on the street to now do movies. It's like Billy Eichner, think about other people. Don't think about yourself. I wonder what he has to say about Candace Cameron. Well, on that note, everybody, we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy that pork.
Or if you made the turkey, as Darian said, send us pictures.
Oh my God, yes, people, send us pictures. Send us pictures, tag us. We hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Much blessings to all of you and your family. And if you are in town, check us out in the various pop-ups we're having this week. So we're glad you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, grab your pavo.
Yes.
This week, pavo.
Yes.
And your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend, a great Thanksgiving.
Cuídense. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.